Kia ora, good morning. I just woke up. I will be going back to sleep. But I had a dream I was sitting in the backyard at night of a house, but it wasn't my house. It might have been my sister's house or something, but not in real life. And we were all sitting outside talking. There was me, my sister Erin, and the King, King Charles. And I can't remember what we were talking about, but I was saying to my sister, you remember that dream I had? No, I was saying to my sister, remember the other day when you had those bugs in your garden and we buried them under the dirt, looked like those little worms? And she was like, yeah. And I said, did you see them mutating? And she goes, what? And I said, yeah, your worms have mutated. And I said, look, and I got a shovel and I lifted up the soil, and these little worm things had turned into these massive, like, millipedes and centipedes. They were huge. But we'd put them there so that they'd be smothered. But it didn't work. They'd mutated. They'd gone from like these little worm things into millipedes and centipedes, but they were really long, and they had these pincer things, and they started snapping at us when I pulled the soil back. And then I said, look, and I sort of dug a little bit further, and there was like these weird little jellyfish things, and they were like trying to snap and bite at me and my sister. And she was like, oh my God. And I said, look, they're everywhere. And she sat up from where she was sitting, and she'd been sitting on some. And some had been squashed flat like a shoelace. And I said to her, don't worry, we're going to take care of it. And I gave King Charles the shovel, and he started smashing these little mutant garden in the soil worm centipede. It's like we put them in the garden knowing that the garden was supposed to kill them off, but they mutated into something they shouldn't have been. And then they were trying to snap at me and my sister, like trying to take bites of me and my sister. And when I moved my sister, like, she realised, because it's like they were coming up under the ground, coming up under the soil, and becoming like an infestation. And so I gave the shovel to the king, and he started smashing them and splatting them. My dad, when I was a kid, we used to go to the beach, and they used to have the blue bottle jellyfish. And when you stood on them, they'd pop. Because he used to say, like, stand on them because they sting. So we used to have to stand on them, and they would pop, make this popping sound. And when the king was hitting these little mutant jellyfish things, they were making the popping sound. And he was just going around, like, splatting them all. If you've ever had, like, a slug infestation, you know, when they come up, I know because my ex has them, the slugs come up at night from his kitchen, from under his sink, and sometimes you'd walk into the kitchen at night and stand on them, and they make like that squishy, squelchy, oh, it's horrible. It's probably one of the reasons why my boys are always sick. Because I used to mop the floors, and he doesn't. So, yeah. So when, sort of as I was waking up, I was thinking, you got to document this because this dream is important, because the king's about to go to war with his government. Because I knew that the dream was saying that the worms are rearing their heads, that like it's all been unearthed, all the lies that the king's been told, all the lies that the people have been told. These people started out as one thing. They started out as politicians, they started out as MPs, they started out as one thing that mutated into something dangerous, that was specifically, they were trying to snap at me and trying to snap at my sister. So it's to do with the Commonwealth nations, Commonwealth leaders, things being uncovered, things being dug up for the king to take care of. And remember my Sherlock Holmes dream the other day, I was telling, and the king was an alcoholic, and I was saying, don't be scared to make the change. It's not going to be, look, it's going to go a lot smoother than you think. And him being an alcoholic, because of the fact that it's talking about the information that he chose to believe, the information he chose to take care of, the things he chose to believe, making him an alcoholic, meaning it became toxic and poisonous to him. The things that he chose to believe, the people that he trusted, the things he fed his mind and his information became toxic for him, and now he needs help, which is why we were in the hospital. And me giving him the answers, me showing him what needs to be done, right? Well, now, this is all this now. Me saying to the people, petition the king. Me saying, impeach Starmer. I had the information all ready to go. Remember the man with the file and Sherlock Holmes in London? And I was saying, when I was interpreting the dream, the information was all there ready to go. So the information's all there ready to go. I handed it to the people. If they're serious about stopping this, the information's all there on what to do. But same for the king. The king knows what to do. He has to take a shovel to it. In my dream that I had called The Endeavour, I was showing the king how to stab the great white shark. And to me, the great white shark is Donald Trump. And when he stabbed the great white shark, it split open and disintegrated, and we managed to save the little baby great white shark and put it back in the water, and the baby great white shark swam off with was it a dolphin and a whale? But I said then in the dream, him stabbing the great white shark is using his words. He has to learn to use his words to defend himself, which is, see, to me the great white shark is always Donald Trump, but I suppose technically it could be Starmer. But to me, the great white shark is Donald Trump. But and I was saying in that dream, the king has to learn to stand up for himself and use his words to stand up for himself, stabbing words, cutting, stabbing words. And that because like Scorpios don't like confrontation, we're very passive, non-confrontational people. But if we're forced to act, we don't piss about. You know when you've been struck by a Scorpio. So this is God. Because, when you have dreams of being out in nature, when you dream of being out in gardens and that sort of thing, that's God. That's God saying to the king, Charles, now's the time to use your words and defend yourself and take action. Stab, cut, that it's not... I think he fears the consequences of the outcome, but he doesn't realise that he's been told the outcome is going to be he helps bring peace about in the world. By him putting his foot down to Charles, by him getting rid of Starmer and his parliament, taking that shovel and smashing those mutant creatures, because this is mutated into something bigger than he was told it was going to be. He thought when Labour got in it was going to be this great change and blah, blah, blah. And now look, Iran's bombing and threatening to bomb the UK and UK bases and blah, blah, blah. This is exactly what Starmer wanted to have happen, but he lied to the king and the people, which, kept it under the soil. They kept all their plans under the soil, but I pulled the topsoil back. So I exposed everything and said to the king and the Commonwealth, look what they're doing, look what they're planning. And now it's mutated, and as a result, they were coming after me, hacking my phone, trying to shut my phone down, threatening to deport me, threatening to cut my money, poisoned me, yada yada, right? And then I gave the shovel to the king and he smashed them and killed the lot, got rid of the lot. But in my Endeavour dream, he was stabbing. So I believe that the king is about to make a decision to get rid of Starmer and his government. If he doesn't dissolve Parliament, he's certainly getting rid of Starmer and calling for an election so that we can have a reset and start again, because he's the one that cleaned the garden. He's the one who took care of it all. And he thinks that people will be angry with him, but Starmer has now pushed the people beyond patience, because now we're looking at bombs dropping over our houses because of him, because he's trying to keep his name out of the mouths of people who know he's on the Epstein list. And Yvette Cooper and her husband Ed Balls and Ed Miliband and his lover Lord Allen, that they're all in the Epstein files. And Starmer's in the Epstein files in a really bad way. And Macron, who stole the oil from Russia and that, because remember the whole Venezuela thing was a test run. And now France and the UK have stolen the oil from Russia, just like they did with the Venezuela thing. He's showing them how to break international law. So now they're war criminals. Macron and Starmer are war criminals. And by the king taking care of his government, is going to show everybody else how to take care of theirs. And he's going to shut this ship with the Commonwealth down just like that. And he fears the consequences, but God's saying just do it, and it's going to go a lot better than what you think, because the people are going to see you as the saviour. King Charles comes in on his noble steed with his sword held high and takes care of the invaders. And that's what it was, because these were mutants invading the garden. And he takes care of the invaders, the parasitic invaders, the ones feeding on the fear, the ones bleeding the nations dry. Because had they have been able to bite me and my sister, they would have, drawn our blood and drunk our blood, like bled the nation dry. And the king smashed them with the shovel and took care of them all. So everybody needs to get ready, because I know my timings might be off, but it's because I might think that something is going to happen today, tomorrow, blah, 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 but it does happen. But it happens in God's timing. And now everything that I've said is falling into alignment. The hammer is about to drop on Starmer. And the king's going to be the one to bring it down, because he's put Great Britain under threat, because now Iran are threatening to bomb us. So the king has to be the one to do something about it, and I believe he is. I believe that he's about to make an announcement to say that he's gotten rid of Starmer. So that's 3 dreams now that I've had in the last couple of weeks, from the Endeavour one to the Sherlock Holmes one to now, where God has told the king, you're going to take care of business and don't fear the consequences. God knew what Starmer was about to do. So he was preparing the king through my dreams to say, get ready and don't fear the consequences. This is not going to be as dramatic or bad as what you think it is, and that you're actually going to purify Great Britain and bring peace. Because when Trump has no support from his little Epsteiner Starmer, then it's just going to be him and France and that by themselves, which means Macron will have to back out as well. Because once the world sees that Starmer's been arrested, that you've finally done the right thing and arrested him on war crimes and threatening to, bringing threats of bombing to Great Britain, the other ones will back off. Because it's treason. He's committed treason, he's committed international war crimes, and he's under investigation for war crimes because of Trump. So, in essence, God is saying that the king is about to hold Starmer's head up in front of the world as a warning to the others. Don't mess with my crown. So he's going to put his big boy pants on and do the right thing. And everyone will be supportive of him. Everyone will see the Prime Minister of Spain's getting letters from people all over the world telling him what a wonderful man he is for standing up to everyone and for being brave enough to stand up to Trump, because the entire world hates Trump. The entire world hates Starmer. So the king will start getting letters from people all around the world telling him how brave he is. And I've been saying this from day one. Now is the time, Your Majesty. And it's not going to be like you think it is. You have to look at history. You've had ancestors, King George. He didn't even have a parliament for the last few years of his life. Everything you've been told, remember in Becoming Spellbound, asp, the poison. Socrates drank was the asp poison. Everything you've been told was a lie. You've been lied to by Trump. You've been lied to by Igor. You were lied to. You consumed the poison. You believed everything you were told. It was probably, I'm just thinking it might be why it was to do with the alcohol and that Sherlock Holmes dream. But anyway, putting the puzzle pieces together. But, yeah, they were feeding you poison, just like I was fed poison too, remember? But I was fed actual poison. With you, they fed you lies. So put the cup down and make the call and get them arrested, because in Becoming Spellbound, the both of them end up on charges of treason and being charged for war crimes, because Trump has brought an illegal war to British soil. Therefore, he can be done for treason too. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And the American Congress hand him to you, Your Majesty. They don't even argue it. You just have to get rid of Starmer first, because in Becoming Spellbound, Starmer goes down first. Starmer and his people go down first. And while he's in court, they start preparing to bring Trump over to be held for questioning and that as well. So just be brave. Now is the time. And the people will celebrate you. And if you need my help, if you need my advice, if you need anything, I am at your service. I'm at your service, Your Majesty. I know I'm just a peasant compared to all the rest of you and your buddies. But I'm the only one that knows how to save your ass and to stop this war. And because, when have I been wrong? I haven't been wrong yet, have I? Haven't been wrong yet. And I even know how to defend you to the public in regards to the propaganda, because my evidence speaks for itself. And then you can go after everybody that convinced Dharma into trying to enslave the people through the social media and that. And before I went to sleep, I was actually thinking about it. The way that we can get around having to deal with your Twitter, Instagram, Facebook oligarchs that are part of the tyrannical dictatorship. Remember, I've got my server. Remember how the BBC are all in on it, and that they've been paid off to only show one side of the story and blah, blah, blah. We can just get rid of all of that. You know, like how Russia have banned Facebook and Instagram and all of that and have their own versions. I've already created my own versions. I literally have the replacements for all the parasites all there ready to go. We can have our own version of the BBC. The Time Jumping Detective is our version of Doctor Who. Do you know what I mean? I've got the replacements all there ready to go. We can ban Xbook and Instagram and YouTube and all of that for YouTube hasn't anyway. I've got the replacements. You could invest in it. You and your friends could invest in what it is I've created, and then we can remove the parasites from Great British social media and start again, where we do have free speech and we do have end-to-end encryption, because we don't care what people say and do. As long as it doesn't come onto us, and as long as it's not a lie, just have two rules. Journalists and the media aren't allowed to print and publish lies. And if it's AI, there has to be a watermark to let people know that it's AI. And that stops half the bullshit there. Just don't print lies. That's it. No lies, no propaganda. And it just gets rid of the bullshit there. So this is what I think the dream was. You were going around smashing all the parasites in the garden that were mutating. Because mutations happen when there's cells and genes cross. So, the ones that have been paid by the lobbyists and all that, just get rid of them. Just get rid of Facebook. I think people would just be so happy. Or if you're going to have them, at least bring ours out. But when people know that, we're 100% free speech, there will be, like my rule is no pornography and no real death if it's out of context. So you can show an accident, but no baseless killing of animals or anything like that. Nothing like that, because obviously what I was going to do was going to have a section that was for over 18s that children couldn't have access to, but there was still going to be no pornography and no real death, because X and that shows all that sort of stuff, animals being beaten, unnecessary stuff. It's unnecessary. So I'm trying to bring wholesome social media back, but it's full transparency and complete honesty. And if people are caught lying, then they'll be dealt with by everybody else on social media. It doesn't require bringing the law in unless they're lying about something like, something that's obvious, if they made an accusation against you doing something to them, for example, that's a lie. Then they'd get warnings and that, but total free speech. So I'm handing you the shovel. God's telling you, take the shovel, deal with it. And I literally have the replacements all ready to go. All the instigators of all of this. Just do what Putin did. Shut it all down and bring out your own versions. And that's why the Russians are more wholesome. So that's why they still, all the kids can do ballroom dancing and stuff, because they don't treat social media the same way, because their social media is completely different. So that's what the dream meant. Take the shovel. I removed the topsoil to reveal the mutants. Now the king's going to take the shovel and squash them all, smash them all and squash them all. The fact that my sister was sitting on some and squashed them all flat and they were all like splattered means that it's going to have a knock-on effect to the Commonwealth as well. It's going to put all the Commonwealth Prime Ministers in their place. There'll be like a reset. These are the rules. This is how it's going to go from now on. So I had to record that dream because something's coming. I'm bracing for impact because I think something. I've always known that the day was going to come when I end up with reporters on my doorstep, and I can feel it getting closer and closer and closer and closer. So my timings might be off because when existence doesn't align with reality, my timings are off. It's because God's telling me stuff's coming before it happens, but because I'm down here, I think, oh well, the way I was told, if I have a dream, it happens within 2 weeks, because that's how I was taught when I was taught to interpret dreams. I was told, when you have your dreams, it happens within 2 weeks, and when it doesn't happen, people are like, well, you said it was going to happen and it didn't. But that's because I'm not God. And when you're in the existence of time, time happens simultaneously. So the past, present, and future happens all at once. But I'm in the reality of time. I'm in physical reality. So I exist in the present, but my dreams exist in the past, present, future, in the of all time. And it's only when existence lines perfectly with reality that everything I said starts making sense and starts coming true. Because God has to wait for all the pieces of the puzzle, remember the Sherlock Holmes dream, all the pieces of the puzzle to be aligned for the picture to make sense. He has to put all the players in place for everything that I've said to perfectly align. And now this is starting to happen. So that's 3 dreams now where the king's been told, get ready to defend yourself. Get ready to defend the Commonwealth. Because it's coming. And when he does, it's going to go a lot smoother than he thinks. And then he's going to end up being seen as the hero. Charles the Saviour, I think it was. So I'm just documenting it. Get ready. Because it's here. And Starmer's going down. And then when Starmer goes down, all his seedy behaviour is going to get brought up as well. So like, the Ukrainian rent boys, the reason why he wants to get rid of jury trials. All the truth about them is going to come out because, remember, it ends up they were all prostitutes. And him being on the Epstein, the videos about him and Miliband, like everything's going to come out. It's all going to come out. Because when the bugs in that were being squashed, that means like, and because like all their little guts and goo was all over the pavement and all in the garden. So it's like they're going to have their lives completely destroyed, their reputations, everything that they are, completely destroyed. So yeah, so let's see what happens. But Iran have made it very clear that they know that the British people are on their side. The whole world is on their side. The only people that aren't on Iran's side are the people in the Epstein files, which is why it's little teeny tiny Macron. Oh, we got a war because I am on the files. Everybody know what I do. And Starmer. It's everyone in the Epstein files. All have, because they set this up long before they ever targeted Iran. So I was right about everything. It was me that pulled the topsoil back to reveal it all. And like in the Sherlock Holmes dreams, it was me that took the bag of toxin to the nurse and the man with the file, and I said the information was all there ready to go. And I kept talking about, why am I talking about London? Because that's God saying to the king, get ready. So get ready, because if he doesn't, they're going to start bombing London. And the US Air Force Base up the road. There's spy network where they can't even hide it because it's big, massive balloons. They'll start getting bombed. So, but I'm not worried because I know how this ends. And it ends with Starmer in jail. Starmer and 6 or 7 other of his ministers in jail for war crimes and treason. Because they've committed treason as well. So, pretty big charges to be had up on. So I'm going to go, my stomach's in agony. My scars and that are absolutely killing me at the moment. So I'll speak to you later. Cookie cereal.